Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Joost.
Yes.
Sorry. For the BIM model right now, the hardware configuration is always a problem for all of us because when the project is being more complicated, the model can become very heavy. So what is your system demand? I mean, for the hardware, is there any advantages from your side?
The design process is you can simply go through the desktop computers to do your building information modeling. You have if you work with a cloud system, you deal with a computer server, which is generally more stronger. I mean, Autodesk has their cloud BIM cloud computing as well, so you can implement or use their services as well. For the structural monitoring itself, all the data can go through one computer server in a building. So one simple server, I mean, you have to have a lot of storage for all the data, but hard disks are not the big deal. It's the program itself, the analysis itself is the real-time analysis. Because it's real-time, you need to have a relatively good server, but one server will be fine. Post-processing analysis requires more time, but that's done. With post-processing you have some time, so you can use a server computer or a regular computer, but it takes a while to analyze.
And how's the confidentiality issue on the cloud? Because we know that Jennifer Lawrence would probably question the safety of the cloud. No, because obviously the information that you are doing are very confidential, right? But it's quite easy to hack into the cloud.
But Autodesk themselves have this cloud service. I'm pretty sure Autodesk. You purchase this cloud processing from Autodesk, and it comes with their security. If you deal with the monitoring itself, that the server, you can have access through, data access through internet, but that's done through a security system as well. So the server itself has a security access.
It is a big issue that we see all around the world. Data is becoming easier to access. I know that Amazon, for example, are offering a pretty big service for the AEC industry, and companies such as Panzura that have worked with NASA and other Department of Defense and others in the US are getting involved in our industry. So there's what we've seen in the design process, a lot better tools out there to help multi-sites share information, because when you're in the one building it's usually okay. It's when you're across different countries where particularly Autodesk gets quite heavy, as we all know, during the design process.
Actually, I want to know when exactly is in the design program would you implement BIM? Because as an architect, we've got external consultants for structural and MEP, and always they tend to lag behind, you know. And the number of design changes also happening during the course of the design program. The BIM model actually, because if you've got a schedule of completing the design within that frame, you don't finish it, you know, and then sometimes you got to issue your construction drawings so we are a little bit skeptical of exactly when we should start a BIM modeling, you know.
It's difficult to find out when exactly to start, indeed. I mean, you have to have the architectural drawings, or some architects work directly into BIM. If you just do the drawings, you have to transform drawings to 3D models and BIM as well. But as soon as you have, as how I see it, as soon as you have an architectural design, you can already employ the structural engineers to initiate the design process of the structural engineering. It is true that you have to, the structural engineering needs to be a little bit processed before you start with MEP, but they still need to integrate. It will bring it will not. My graph showed that everything starts at the beginning. It's not true in that sense, but it brings all the whole. It makes the whole process, or it's capable of making the whole process shorter than using the traditional method.
Yeah, maybe I think that's right. Maybe I can comment on that too, because we are in the same position. We are always working with architecture teams and other teams in one BIM model. And I think for us at least the answer was best is to start right at the beginning, start from the very, very first meeting actually with the BIM model, and then as a consulting engineer accept that you have to change it a couple of times, okay? Because there will never be the world where you don't have to change it. But in the end, the changes don't need the same time as at the full setup again. And the earlier you have it, everybody knows how to handle the process. So I think it's really more about calculating that you might have to do it twice, especially in schematic design.
I have a question to Roland about the material saving. What's the percentage that you can save by optimizing the structure? And have you put some thought about when you make really variable material, you make the fabrication process less efficient environmentally and economically?
Yeah, I think this is exactly the point and exactly the issue we are facing. Of course, you can save, I would say from a regular building, you could save up to 15% if you would really reduce it down to the maximum regarding the material. So even an optimized building, structural engineers build, there's a lot of room for optimization if really material reduction would be the only thing which counts. And as I pointed out, many decisions are really driven by industry practices. And I think the only system to change it is really to slowly change the industry practices so that they become better even for construction methods would take material reduction into account. So I think it's a long process we have to go because then you don't add any additional costs or anything to the entire process, but it's really that we have to do these little steps to kind of also have the contractors catch up with the systems they provide actually.
Yeah, I just have a question for maybe Dr. Shao about the Zhongguozun. I mean, how much has been spent about the urban plan around the project? Because I see many towers, and the Zhongguozun is also a very high tower for maybe office buildings, and how this site is actually integrated within the city of Beijing. I mean, with the infrastructure around it, not just the site itself, but with the the highways, trains, or to make sure that the flow of people living there or working there can be feasible.
Now, this is beyond my knowledge, I believe. So I think this is, of course, a huge plan. So as far as Beijing is concerned, as we know, that Beijing is a fast developing city internationally in the recent years because of the huge commercial demand. And we can see that there's also a huge requirement for the tall buildings. So I believe that, of course, we do have the commercial financial support for this kind of the project. I can't tell you what is the figure, but I can tell you that we do have the sufficient funds support for this project. This is all I can say.